The Great Debaters Contest is powered by Blaze, by Safaricom, the Youth Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kisumu edition of the Great Debaters Contest. We are talking about SDGs. I'm your host, Austin Nyombok.
And I am Mariam Bishar. Today we try to find out if the One Laptop Per Child digital literacy program has in fact improved literacy. We have Chianda High School going versus Kisumu Boys. Proposer number 1, you may take the stage.
Man made technology, and technology made man. Before you is Omondi Byron from the Chianda High School, standing strongly to oppose the motion that says the digital literacy program, one laptop, one child, is an increase, has helped to improve literacy. According to the Oxford Dictionary, literacy, this is the ability to read and write. And digital literacy, this is learning using technological means. On to my first point. Pupils increase, when these laptops have been introduced, this will increase exposure. Imagine of a student in class 1 who has not ever touched a digital gadget. And when these laptops are introduced, this pupil will be able to touch this thing and make use of it for the things that it should be used. On to my second point. This increases the learner's motivation. A student who gets ample time to use these gadgets will be motivated to work hard in order for him to maybe at a particular point go and have these gadgets later. A student who has this gadget will not help in going into activities such as truancy. On to my third point. Laptops are accurate compared to human beings. You find out that a machine is accurate than a human being. You tell a student to add 20 plus 20, and it will take some time, but when he uses this gadget, it will take only a couple of few seconds. And so, people, I want to tell you that without using technology, we will be turning our siblings into robots. They will not have time in writing, they will have to calculate too much, but when these gadgets are brought about, they will have ample time to do these things. And then you should know that each generation tries to make things better for the next generation. The other generation passed, and they had their motives, but this generation has helped to make the generation that we have now to live a better and good life. I want to tell you, our opposers, that if you are allergic to change, then cross over and join us in proposing this motion. Thank you.
Opposition, you have 3 minutes for your opening statements.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Billy Abraham once again from Kisumu Boys. I stand here to oppose the motion that states a digital platform program, one laptop per child, has helped improve literacy. Now, I will work first to guide the proposers. We have not said that we are allergic to change. I'm very sorry. Digital platform, I'll simply refer to this as a site where people can access, interact, and share information. And I'll term literacy as ability to read and write. And according to Wikipedia, One Laptop Per Child is a non-profit initiative that was established in 1999 for children around the world by creating and distributing education devices for the developing world through creation of software content. I believe this forms part of the agenda of the Sustainable Development Goals number 4, which is to provide quality education. But I don't think so. I'm an anti-crusade of this. Let's take an issue with deworming. I think this issue of one laptop per child is cost ineffective. Why should we not focus on deworming first, focus on the child health first, before we look at technology? Imagine, how will this child concentrate, or how will this child get literate if he's sick inside? How? It is not possible. So let's focus on the basic need first before we go to laptop. Imagine security. Before you give these laptops to the children, you must ensure security. And that security must be guaranteed. Let's take an example in northern Nigeria, where Boko Haram is a religious sect group that is there. And they've radicalized the people there. They're saying Western education is forbidden. You take these laptops to northern Nigeria. How will they receive it? Western education is forbidden. These children are radicalized. These children are radicalized by extremist groups. How will they take it? It won't work, my friend. So I want you to note that we should deploy these programs where they're necessary. So in the context of developing nations, it won't work. Therefore, I want to consider it and term it as a farce, because it will only work to the first world or the developed countries. But therefore, I don't think it is a good idea to deploy in the entire world. It is a good idea to deploy in a certain part of the world, but not all the parts of the world, because we are not developed the same. So I want you to have a thought of that, so that at the end of the day, we consider the basic needs first. You satisfy your want first. Hunger, there's food. If there's food, let's go and learn. Let's get literate. But if there's no food, we'll not learn. So let's rise to the occasion, and I therefore oppose this motion in the strongest terms possible. Thank you.
Chianda High School, you have 3 minutes for your rebuttal.
The farther backward you look, the farther forward you are likely to see. Those were words said by Honorable Sir Winston Churchill. Let me tell you, our opposers are becoming proponents of alienation. If Kenyans are always talking of Vision 2030, and now we want to oppose such an achievement that the country has made to improve the literacy of this country at such a time, then which Kenya are we heading to? Do you recall from 1963 when Kenya gained independence? When people are still struggling with too much education system? On to my first point. Reduced truancy. All of us here went through class 1s, and we know what it cost us just to know the spelling of a cup. In fact, some of us were even fearing waking up because of the canes. Quote it. If you don't come back here tomorrow with my assignment done, or if you don't know how to spell a cup, then you'll face the wrath of the teacher. But here we have the laptops that will help the child memorize. Every one of us sang here, in and out the bamboo forest, in and out the bamboo forest. Some of us are slow learners and could not catch the songs. But if we have the laptops, one child, one laptop, very easy to memorize the song. Will be a solution to procrastination. Children just loitering around. When teachers are not at school, what are they to do? Just to stare at charts which are drawn finely, and yet they have cartoons in the laptops that can make them have some creativity in their mind. Let us move on if you want to improve the literacy of this country. Fellows, I heard him saying here that deworming. Even right now, I myself, as an example, was dewormed. So what will this deworming do with the bringing of laptops, one per child? I think you need to go deep into your facts. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to move forward, then take time and think deep of it if you want to move Kenya further. Thank you.
Kisumu boys, you have 3 minutes for your rebuttal.
To my dear proposers, has it ever occurred to you that real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance? This is a word by Confucius. And Confucius points out that before you say something, look at its effect. I, Benkasun Odongo from Kisumu Boys, simply would like to stand and strongly oppose the motion. Digital literacy program, one laptop per child, has helped to improve literacy. Our first start by looking at the insufficient infrastructure. Let me educate you a bit. Has it occurred to you that there are some countries in Africa, for example, Burundi, have as low as 17% electrical grid coverage? So I would simply just like to ask, these laptops, I suggest you think they use water. The laptops use electricity, just to educate you a bit. We have, on use of the electricity, imagine 1 million laptops dedicated to 1 million students at the age bracket of 6 to 12 years in a year. We have, at 10 years, we have 10 million laptops. The issue comes in the issue of energy. We are going to have an energy crisis in the country. Energy crisis in the country, there are a lot of funds going to be used in funding this energy use. You find that we are wasting financial currency, yet we ourselves do not have sustainable economic development. I like to point out the issue of inadequate school facilities. Some schools are learning under trees. As you sit here, a student of a school, there's some students are learning under trees. As you sit here, learning in a school, there are some schools that only have a teacher, one teacher. There are some schools that even classrooms, we have inadequate classrooms in these schools. So how do you suppose that these laptops will be brought? Because the main distribution is through schools. How do you support this distribution will be to effectively reach the child? I would also like to focus on the hardware issues of the laptop. In case of any hardware issue, let's say we have a breakdown, the only thing is to be done is to be communicated directly to the headquarters. Countries like Somalia are war-torn. Countries like Southern Sudan right now are war-torn. We do not have these headquarters. So how, my dear brothers, do you suppose that these laptops will be repaired, will be maintained? And if they are not maintained, they are simply not in use. Then what is the use of them not being in use? How does it relate to literacy in this country? I would also like to look at the issue of the warranty period. I would like to look down at the QAS report, which says that the warranty is 4 years. Imagine 1 million students getting 1 million laptops in a year, and then after that, after 4 years, we have 4 million laptops, they crash. We are having 4 million laptops at the time. So I would simply like to look at you and see that let us not look at our present situation, let us not focus on the technological advancement and leave these children who are suffering barefoot. They do not even have uniform, they do not even have the clothing, and then we want to do this. So I simply strongly look at you and say that we should look at the drive, and for the drive to change Africa, and for the drive, salalala.
Thank you very much to the audience. The proposition have been asked if the one laptop per child program has been introduced in Kenya, and the opposition have been asked to give us alternatives for how we can keep up with the times if we don't use the one laptop per child digital literacy program. Third proposer, you have 3 minutes.
Whenever projects fail, they fail because there's a weakness in the design. There is nothing so quite instructive like failure. Before you, Frederick Olago from Chianda High School. I want to start by answering the first question that was asked. You asked if this program of one laptop per child has been introduced in Kenya. Well, if you are a Kenyan, then you are ignorant. This program has started in some counties in Kenya, and I can state there are 10 countries in Kenya that have already started this program. So that your question, I think it's out of ignorance. I want to go to my first point. When we are looking at the problem of procrastination, when students fail to do their assignments now and then because they lack that motive, that urge to do their assignments because it is boring. Well, this laptop system will create that urge and desire to seek for information constantly and to look for knowledge and skills anywhere and anytime. This will make the pupils to grow academically and intellectually. On to my second point. This system is flexible to changes. We know that the books can be changed. The syllabus can change. There can be modifications in the system. What about now when you're talking about the modifications in the system of the laptops? The laptops can take 1 minute, then changes all made all over the country. What about the books? It can take years, a long time, for all those books that have been disbanded in all those schools to be changed. This system makes those modifications very easy to change. On to my next point. This is the best solution to the problem, the main problem with the pupils, the fear. You find that most pupils fear to answer questions, or they fear to ask for assistance even when they are in problem with their studies. Why is that? Because it might be because of poor teacher-pupil relationship. But I doubt if any of us can now stand here and talk about poor pupil-laptop relationship. It can never. We know that the laptop lacks feelings and emotions. We can do whatever we want and we can ask any question at any time. The laptops also avail the split screen feature, which is not a common feature in books. This one allows you to look at a description file on the other side while drafting your description at the other file. Seeing those files at the same time saves the time of going back and forth between the file and looking for information, which is very common in books. And also, it's worse when the information is stored in 2 or many different books. I want to say that the best ideas in the world are worthless if they cannot be communicated. I have communicated the best ideas in the world. Kenya is one of the countries in the world. If countries are making steps toward development, we should not be lagging behind. Other countries like India, USA, are using this system. If you want to see Vision 2030, then we should not be talking about opposition of this progress. We are making a progress towards Vision 2030. And one of us also talked about electricity. We know that Rome was not built in one day. That's why you're not talking about Vision 2016 and Vision 2030. We are talking about Vision 2030. Rome was not built in one day. This system should be allowed to change the lives and transform lives of Kenyans. Thank you.
Opposition, you have 3 minutes to respond to the audience.
I'll go to the first question asked. And I want to tell our proponents here that we are talking about practicality. Are these things practical? We must ensure that as we talk of the deployment of these gadgets, they must be practical to our environment. If you have an environment that is not suitable for the functioning of these laptops, then it's useless. So we are not proponents of alienation, we are proponents of practicality. Number 3, I'd like to go back and remind you that these gadgets require electricity, as it was said, and that connection is what we are lacking. Therefore, let's ensure first that we develop the sectors that are required for the functioning of these gadgets. Thirdly, One Laptop Per Child is a program that was initiated all over the world. In Africa alone, only Rwanda has implemented the program. Rwanda has implemented the program, though with hiccups. Kenya has not adopted it. We can't use it, therefore, on the basis of Kenya. In countries that it was adopted and it has taken phase, like Australia, it has taken phase. Yet Australia is still also grappling with the needs of replacing the laptops, maintenance and repair. This software is coded. You have to update the core software from the headquarters if it breaks down. And that's what is also not very easy to do. So as you speak, remind yourselves that these things are controlled. And also the information that is obtained from the laptops is limited to a span. There is no Skyping there. There is no Skyping. So let's be very careful. When we are handling this topic, we are handling One Laptop Per Child. It is a program. It is a program that has been enshrined and brought there to be, and it has not yet been implemented in so many countries, to say. So I want you to rise to the occasion and be aware that this program is good, yes, but is it practical in our situation? I'll therefore term it as one of the things that have been imposed on the world. It's practical to certain parts, but not everywhere. So be humble. We are not proponents of change. We are proponents of practicality. And take heed of that. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll hear final statements now, beginning with the proposition.
Look at my left side. I see bright faces, wonderful minds. But I hear you talk and I have a different perspective. Without technology, could our judges be smartly dressed? touching phones, luxurious phones? Could we be wearing expensive watches? The Kenyan child, just like that child in France or in America, is ready to learn in a more fashionable way. People, we don't need a sixth sense to think about this. This is just common sense, and everything will be fine. Thank you.
Kisumu boys, you have 1 minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies, I would simply like to stand in this place and say, it has become appallingly obvious that our technology has exceeded our humanity. These were the words of Albert Einstein. Our ambitions should never stand before our love for humanity. Our dreams should never stand before our present circumstances. And where the future itself should not stand for us not to see the children suffering, for us not to see that this project is not something that is a practical experience in Africa as a whole. So over-ambitiousness of the third world is something we should first look at ourselves. We should first analyze ourselves for the greater perspective in life. So with that, I'll just tell my proposers, think twice before you leave. Thank you.
Franklin Olago, congratulations. Your last statement has it that you have mastered what it means to debate and to conclude. Omondi Brian from Chianda, you got what it was, but there was one thing particularly that you need to remember. You appeared to confuse the facts from the beginning, especially when you are talking about robots and the children. The question you're asking actually should have merited the other boys if it were well taken care of. So master what we have to give down on the ground. But I want in all, I want to comment and say that this debate was very good. You appeared to master the topic, all of you. It's only that there was one mishap also. Congratulations.
Chianda, I think that was commendable of you, the three speakers from the start all the way. You know, we know that literacy is not just only for the kids, because even the tutors that will be teaching these kids have gone through some level of training, which is in as much as we can count it in, is part of the literacy program. So you could have given us more of that and not just dwell too much on the advantages of using laptops vis-a-vis the books that we have. So it was more on a focus on literacy, and probably even give us statistics, for example. There are countries, for example, like South Africa that have done this before, and probably could have used their basis and statistics and say, if this is what has happened to this country, then this is what is about to happen to us, okay? So you wanted to extend your research on that. For Kisumu boys, we know you and we know what you can do. Billy, I think that was commendable. A soldier never leaves the other one behind. Ben, keep up, all right? All the best to both teams.
Thank you very much. We'll go to the numbers now. Kisumu boys, the judges awarded you 62%. Please give them a round of applause. Chianda High School, the judges gave you 67%, making you the winners.
Congratulations are in order for the two teams on stage. We'd also like to thank our studio audience and our viewers back home. Keep watching and keep the conversation going. Our hashtag is GDC for SDGs, and I'm your host, Austin Yambok.
I am Mariam Bishar. We'll see you next time.
The Great Debaters Contest is powered by Blaze, by Safaricom, the Youth Network.